Do not be afraid. What I'm about to tell you is pure. You know that scene in Sinners, the one that made grown people weep in movie theaters, where the ancestral veils just dissolve and the past and the future find each other across centuries in one single kinetic time-bending celebration of art and blood and remembrance? While the world marveled at the cinematic artistry of it, I sat in that theater and I felt something else entirely. Recognition. Because that depiction of an eclectic spiritual gift, of ancestors moving through the living, of the unseen world pressing itself against the seen, that is not Ryan Coogler's imagination to me. That is my Tuesday. That's my life as a storyteller. Writing is not merely my talent, it is my spiritual gift. And there's a difference, a vast, sacred, humbling difference between the two. When I say my words congregate souls, these poems, these stories, they don't pour from a stream of consciousness. They flow from something older, something that moves through the blood in which I hear the divine whispers of ancestral sisters. I never wanted a reputation for this. Spiritual gifts in my family have always been something seen, safe, understood, accepted, and not spoken about. A knowing you carry quietly, like a secret passed down through human nature instead of language. My mother has always been a landing place for those who are leaving. She receives visits from family members in her dreams after they pass, just to let her know they arrived safely on the other side. It runs in us like a river we didn't dig, like a current we were born swimming, an ancestral gift that prepared our lineage for a sink or swim world. And like the rapid tides of life, something waited for me across water in Alabama. I grew up hearing so many stories about Alabama. My grandmother and aunties described this place not like a location, but like a feeling that's injected into your marrow before you even touch the land. I always had the intention of visiting the place that my grandmother grew up. Something was always calling me there. I just never knew when. The timeline felt equally as far as the distance between Connecticut and Alabama. But in July of 2025, my great aunt in her 80th birth year set out to visit her home with a one-way plane ticket, and I can't tell you how or why, but something rumbled in my spirit urging me to go with her without reason. So without question or debate, I too bought a one-way ticket to Alabama. A place I've never been, but my home away from home. I had never set foot in the state of Alabama, but the moment I stepped on that land, I felt like I had been there my entire life. My body just remembered. The air felt familiar. The ground hugged my feet. The unknown family here love you automatically, with zero effort, for no reason other than you belong to someone that they belong to. It is a known and unknown feeling simultaneously. The kind of safety that doesn't ask you to explain yourself. Alabama was my refuge, a place where the mind goes quiet and the soul gets loud. An off-grid paradise where tradition is not nostalgia. It is a living, breathing act of devotion. My southern accent came out more when I talked there. And the longer I stayed, the more the land started speaking to me. the language of Press Chapman Bennett. My great-grandfather was not just a farmer. Press Chapman Bennett was a local celebrity, genuinely one of a kind. The kind of man a whole community organizes itself around without even realizing that's what it's doing. He was named in an agricultural book, Farmer of the Year. He picked up 30 to 40 people from the flatwoods at 6 o'clock in the morning to pick cotton by hand on acres he owned, and then got a cotton picking machine. He had a contract with Campbell's Soup, a dairy barn with 30 heads of cattle for milk he sold to Kraft. He fed every single person who worked for him. A farm-to-table lunch every single day, and he paid them well. He picked them up and he dropped them off home. My great-grandfather took care of his people because legacy is not what you accumulate, it's what you sustain. He was like a king to us, my relatives told me. Press Chapman Bennett could read, and he would read the news to those in town who couldn't. He had a tractor, the first one anyone in those parts had ever seen, let alone owned. A black man in Alabama, in a time that handed him every reason to stop, but he built it anyway. There's a line in my poem where I say, "You're looking at an artist with business teeth." And that's because I stood on Press Chapman Bennett's land. I finally understood where those teeth came from. My great-grandfather. The entrepreneurial spirit that wakes me up before my alarm. That makes me confident to pitch at Yale. That makes me build something bigger than me with tenacity. The hunger that refuses, absolutely refuses, to let me be ordinary. That did not start with me. That started with Press Chapman Bennett. Being a founder has always been in the blood. We went to visit his grave in Alabama, and I stood there and I prayed out loud into the Alabama air. Show me what I'm supposed to do creatively. Show me what is waiting for me on the other side of all this building. Tell me why this land called me here. Tell me what you need me to know. But it was silent. Until one night I was in my room. I heard something miraculous in the middle of the night. I remember it so vividly. Everybody was asleep, and we were deep in the country. Like the actual sticks of Alabama, not near any major city for miles. Just land and sky, and the ceiling fan keeping time for something I couldn't yet name. I unplugged my headphones after finishing a YouTube video, and I heard distinctly in my left ear 3 words. It was me. My eyes widened and I whipped around because it was a man's voice that spoke in my ear, and as strange as this was, I felt safe, and I knew it was my great-grandfather. A man's voice I never heard before. A man I never met. I didn't even know what he looked like, but I knew it was him. And then I just started crying tears of joy. Since my Catholic grade school days, I had always wondered who my guardian angel was. And I always assumed it was a fierce woman. But I knew just in those 3 words in my left ear, in the middle of nowhere, when everybody was asleep, below language, below logic, below everything the rational mind tries to protect you with, that was Press Chapman Bennett. answering a question that I never even really asked out loud. I heard it was me, but my heart translated it to, I have been with you. I have been protecting you. This whole time, it was me. My stories have never flowed from a stream of consciousness. They have always flowed from the blood, the same blood that built something nourishing from bare earth, the same blood that fed a community, the same blood that refused to let the world define the size of his vision. That blood, that entrepreneurial spirit ahead of its time, manifested in my blood. Building a venture is not ambition. It's not luck. It's not coincidence. It is inheritance. I was meant to do this. It's in my blood, literally.